Hello and welcome back to Common Room Conversations. My name is Chris White.
And I am Brendan White.
And welcome back to another week number 6.
6? Yeah.
Yeah, we've got quite a bit to talk about.
Yeah, I'm very excited to talk about everything we're going to talk about this week. Chris, how do you want to start off? I feel like we should talk about this piece
we've got
last.
4 things to talk about. Oh, you want to talk about that?
I want to talk about that last because that is going to take up a good chunk of the episode.
So we're going to start this episode with Sonic the Hedgehog 2.
Yep,
and then we'll move in and we'll talk about Operation Fortune. Ruse de guerre.
I don't know how to say that. De guerre?
Oh, maybe.
I think maybe. Like high school Spanish.
And then Halo.
Then, we're gonna move into the Halo series, and then we're gonna finish it off today by talking about the trailer that was just released on Monday for Fantastic Beasts 3: The Secrets of Dumbledore, which I am very excited about, and I want to talk about that last because I have a lot to talk about.
Yeah, and then our extra episode for this week, we're going to be talking about Nightmare Alley. And you can find that over exclusively on Anchor and Spotify as a subscriber to the podcast.
So sit back, relax, and we hope you enjoy this week's episode.
Yeah, let's get into it. Now, you guys know we're very new to this whole podcasting thing, and it kind of wouldn't be possible. Now, Anchor is the sponsor of today's episode, and they are the reason that we are able to do what we do. They help us with everything from creating to distributing the podcast, and even helping us connect to sponsors so that we can continue to do what we love with you guys. Now, Anchor has the tools that allow you to record and edit your podcast right from your phone or computer. Now, that is super simple, right at the palm of your hands. I can get a podcast edited immediately if I wanted to. When hosting on Anchor, you can distribute your podcast on listening platforms like Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and more. We're available on 22 different podcasting sites. And that's all because of Anchor. They make it super simple and super easy to get yourself out there. They have everything you need to make a podcast all in one place. And best of all, Anchor is totally free. Now, if you want to join the podcasting space, you can download the Anchor app or go to anchor.fm to get started. Our first game to movie adaptation for this week is Sonic the Hedgehog 2, which comes out on April 8th, 2022. So about 4 months from now.
Yeah, hopefully we get it then. Hopefully we don't have any uproar and complaints, and then they have to redesign their entire characters again.
I think they're past that. I think they
learned their lesson,
settled in.
They've learned from their mistake, and so I hopefully we'll get it by April. If not, worst comes worst, I see it getting pushed a summer date.
With this movie, they've definitely gotten their grasp on what this franchise needs to be, and it looks fucking phenomenal.
Yeah, it really does.
So
it looks significantly better than the first one, I
say. I loved the first one.
I thought the first one was good for what it was, but the second one looks a lot better, and I do love the new characters they brought into it, and they brought back Jim Carrey, which is great. And what's his face who plays the main character that helps Sonic? I can't see
James Marsden.
James Marsden, yes, thank you. I want to say Fred Marsden for some reason.
The infamous man of just talking to animated CGI characters in his movie.
Yeah.
But the summary for this movie is after settling in Green Hills, Sonic is ready for more freedom, and Tom and Maggie agree to leave him home while they go on vacation. But no sooner are they gone when Dr. Robotnik comes back, this time with a new partner, Knuckles, in search for an emerald that has the power to both build and destroy civilizations. Sonic teams up with his own sidekick, Tails, and together they embark on a journey to find the emerald before it falls into the wrong hands. Now, this very well summarizes the trailer. Like, the best way to summarize everything.
It really does. I love, too, that... we had such a heartfelt Sonic 1 with some quippy humor, and it looks as though it's not gonna be as quippy of humor, but it's gonna be just enough.
But also that's what we're getting. We might be shocked, and they're giving us more story.
It also does a little bit funnier as well. What I was trying to say, it looks funnier than the original, the first one. And I do like the chemistry already we see in the trailer between Tails and Sonic. How they're at first Sonic's okay, but okay, you're working with me, so that's fine. And then I see their relationship progressing, and if they do end up releasing a Sonic 3, which they probably will after this one, we'll get to see more Tails and Sonic's relationship build and grow, and have them even have better chemistry and funnier lines towards one another, which would be really good to see.
Yeah. So there's a lot to talk about here and unpack, but the film's plot is based on Sonic the Hedgehog 2, which was released in 1992, and Sonic the Hedgehog 3, which was released in 1994. So it's based on those two games, where Sonic and Tails must stop Dr. Robotnik, who has gotten his hands on the Master Emerald and has tricked Knuckles into aiding him against them. So this little plot from the previous one, reading that, it very much is like, okay, so he's tricking Knuckles. He didn't like get Knuckles and create him. He like I'm guessing like put him under a spell or something.
Yeah, I mean maybe I wouldn't say a spell. Maybe a lie, but no, it's that's what happened in the game. I mean they could change it for the movie. I don't think maybe a spell. Maybe greed. Maybe Knuckles actually wants the emerald for himself. Or, it could all maybe possibly be a ploy. And maybe Knuckles is like only pretending to help him when they find the emerald. He actually betrays Dr. Robotnik and actually saves the emerald. It could go a lot of ways. Knuckles hasn't been the most faithful character in the Sonic universe. So it could go either way with this film.
I've never played any of the Sonic games,
I've played a few long time ago. So it's some stuff is still fresh in my memory, but I most specifically remember Sonic and Tails, and just seeing that chemistry in the game and bringing it to the big screen is gonna be great to see.
So this movie has a quite a cast to it, but Jason Momoa was originally offered the role of Knuckles.
Oh, that would have been great.
But he had to turn it down due to schedule conflicts with Aquaman and The Lost Kingdom, which is coming out in 2022 as well. That movie is gonna be great. I loved the first Aquaman. That was fantastic.
The first Aquaman was really good. So the only DC projects I liked were Wonder Woman and Aquaman.
Yeah.
And
I really feel like Aquaman and the new Suicide Squad are like the things I've enjoyed from
DC. The new Suicide Squad was really good.
But this is Idris Elba's fourth voiceover role. He did Zootopia in 2016.
Yep.
He did The Jungle Book in 2016 and Finding Dory in 2016. 2016 was his year for animation. I guess so. But those three projects were Disney. So this is his first non-Disney voice role. And it's his second time doing voiceover work in a non-animated movie. Because he did voiceover work in The Jungle Book, which is a live-action adaptation. So this is his second time doing a non-animated like live-action voice role. Which it's fun. I enjoy him. I love you, definitely a fantastic actor.
Anything with Idris Elba, I will see.
Yeah,
I will see anything with him.
A little trivia here: the coffee shop in the movie is called the Mean Bean. We see that on the menu when we're in that, and that's actually a reference to the Sonic game Dr. Robotnik's Mean Bean Machine.
Which was
released in 1993. So
Look at
thought
that.
That was a cool little.
Look at all those Easter eggs already found in the trailer. First trailer for the movie.
But one of my favorite scenes was the electric tornado. Electric. It was like a green glowing tornado. And I just thought it was such a visually fantastic scene to see that CGI that they did there. And I'm excited to see that scene in its entirety. And
it looked as like the tornado was kind of almost like a shield for what Dr. Robotnik was like doing, like because we see him like that big machine. You know what I mean? It looked like the tornado was probably like possibly like a shield. Like a cover up, a beard, if you would. The beard he is severely lacking, as we see Jim Carrey is now extremely bald and a thicker mustache, just like he was in the video games, which is really cool, and it's dorky as hell to see. But honestly, I couldn't. If it was on anybody else, I would have a lot to complain about it because it just looks fucking ridiculous. But with Jim Carrey, it's just like, oh yeah.
But that was like
I can see Jim Carrey having a mustache like this in real life. Yeah.
I mean, he was supposed to in Like, that's his character that he's playing, like how it should have been.
No, what I'm saying is how ridiculous it does look anyway, and I couldn't see it on anybody else, but Jim Carrey just, I don't know, it works for him. It really compliments him. But like I was saying, I believe that maybe like that scene was really cool, and it did look visually stunning as well. And again, we go back to Tails and Sonic. We see like that's like Tails flying the plane, and Sonic's like, "Who are you?" And then like it makes so maybe like that possibly might happen like towards maybe the like a little bit of the middle, maybe after the first act of the movie, maybe in the second act, like and like Tails first gets there, and that whole conflict maybe happen in the middle.
I feel like it might happen like probably 15 minutes into the movie.
I wouldn't say 15 because it looks like there's so much stuff that happens before Tails gets there. Because you have the whole sequence with Sonic doing fighting crime, trying to be a vigilante, and then you have him talking to James Marsden on the lake, and then as you said with the plot description that they decide to leave him home, and then they have they have that to go through, and then they have to decide. They have to show all the scenes where Sonic is home alone and causing mayhem, and then you have to see Dr. Robotnik actually arrive back on Earth, and you have to see Tails come through. So I feel like it's gonna happen a lot later in the movie. Well, not a lot later, but at least in the middle portion.
I can see that.
Like the beginning of the middle, I'll say is probably.
Okay. This movie was directed by Jeff Fowler, who has 4 director credits previously. Well, including this. He was the original director of the first Sonic. And then he directed a short, which I didn't care to explain. And then the other movie is The Pink Panther, which is coming out in 2022 as well.
Is that live action or
it's a animated version of the Pink Panther? Another one, yep. But that's expected for 2022. We have like no info on that. It's just expected, so it'll probably get pushed back to 2023. But I'm very excited for this. I will definitely be seeing it. I don't know if in theaters. I don't know. Theaters right now is like I'm not really in the mood. Go to theaters currently.
Yeah, I know, because someone doesn't want to go see Spider-Man when it first comes out this weekend.
I'd rather like wait and see movies when they like come out on like
streaming
services.
No, I will say there are some movies I feel that way, but like Fantastic Beasts, Secrets of Dumbledore, I will be seeing that in theaters. I'm seeing Spider-Man this weekend. In theaters. I'm gonna see that all weekend. I'm probably gonna be in the theater at least 5 times this weekend. Go broke. And movies like that. I'm gonna see him in theaters. Highly anticipated movies. Gonna see him. Nightmare Alley. I'll probably see in theaters.
I haven't seen Eternals yet, and Disney has already announced that Eternals is
it's coming January 13th.
So like saving my money right there, I will get to see Eternals.
It's just such a different atmosphere, and I know you know that atmosphere. I know you know that atmosphere.
I pretty much have a movie theater in my bedroom.
No, there's nothing compared to the atmosphere of going in, breathing in that popcorn buttery smell, and then going into the theater and sitting down, relaxing with a nice big tall Coke and a bag of popcorn.
I just don't feel like being crowded around people currently. I don't know.
Okay, that's understandable for opening weekend for this. For any opening weekend.
No, I'll wait.
But no, I may or may not see this in theater. We will see.
Operation Fortune, Ruse de Guerre.
Ruse de Guerre.
I don't know how
high
to
school
say.
Spanish.
I did not take any Spanish at all.
It's rough.
But it is coming out on January 21st, 2022. So very soon, about a month away at this point.
Yeah. It's going to be very interesting to see this movie, because this movie looks very, very good.
Yeah.
And it's got a great cast with the leading Jason Statham and Aubrey Plaza. And it's going to be interesting to see how it does, because notoriously January and February releases for movies are not the best.
I think this will be on Netflix within 2 months.
I wouldn't say that. I mean, because looking at what is coming out in January, we don't have a whole lot coming out in the theaters in January. So this actually could probably take a top slot for at least January and February. And then we may see it on Netflix by like maybe April. Yeah, is what I would say, because I mean, like notoriously, like January and February are really rough unless you're like a big name, like if a Star Wars movie came out in those 2 months, or because I know Black Panther was probably one of the only known rich successes with a February release back in 2018, because that had billions and billions of dollars, and that was
Yeah.
the only movie that's the only movie anyone was seeing that whole weekend in February. It's very hard because you have all the movies that you have all these movies in late November and in December that are still in theaters by that time. You know what I mean? So it's like that's just it's so hard for movies to, especially with successful movies that stay in theaters a while and people want to keep going and seeing them. It's hard for movies that come out in January and early February to do well compared to the already huge successes that have come to surpass in the previous months. So it does look really good, and I, for one, will probably see this movie in theaters. I love Jason Statham, and I love Aubrey Plaza.
Oh yeah, I love Aubrey English. Hello, Aubrey Plaza. I definitely will be seeing this. I don't know if in theaters though. I might wait.
Yeah, we already got your take on going to the theaters.
But the summary of this is an MI6 agent, Orson Fortune, and his team of operatives recruit one of Hollywood's biggest movie stars to help them on an undercover mission when the sale of a deadly new weapons technology threatens to disrupt the world order. Now, this movie, there's a lot in this trailer. It was very story forward rather than action.
I wouldn't say that. I say it was very, very well balanced.
Yeah,
because there was a lot of gunfights. There was a lot of explosions.
Compared to like other movies that are action-based movies, you just get action like thrown down your throat.
I wouldn't say that because that's such a rarity to see just action in a trailer, especially that when it's the first trailer, because it's the first trailer we got for this movie, correct? It's not the first trailer. It's got to be the second trailer.
Maybe it is the first trailer. What the fuck?
I was right. I told you. See, so I felt like it was very well balanced between telling us a story and showing all the action, gunfights, explosions, and my personal favorite, getting to see some Jason Statham kicking some ass. And that looks like a lot of what the movie will be, not really focused around all that like gunfight and explosions, but Jason Statham just being a fucking badass and just going hand-to-hand combat. I don't know if you saw any of the Expendables movies. No, he was fucking nuts. I think you would like those movies because he was nuts in those movies. His thing was a knife specialty, and he would go hand to hand combat. He'd like throwing knives and shit, and just like it was crazy. So I kind of hope they do like a little Easter egg in this movie. Maybe have him throw a couple knives, kill a couple guys like that. Do we have a rating on this movie? Is it R or PG-13? Is it R?
I think it's R. Actually, hold on. I might be thinking about Nightmare Alley, to be honest, because
Nightmare Alley is definitely rated R, but we're not going to be talking about more about Nightmare Alley in this episode. So, this week's bonus episode. So please subscribe to that, so you can hear us talk about the intense Nightmare Alley trailer. That's the last time we'll talk about it.
Yeah, Nightmare Alley looks so good.
Okay,
but
stop.
Let's see. I don't think we have a rating on it.
Interesting. I feel like this movie might be rated R, especially because Jason Statham's been in a ton of rated R movies, and so is Aubrey Plaza. So I can see this movie being rated R because of their humor with that R rating, and especially with all the violence. It could be a rated R movie as well because of all the gruesome violence. I mean, we could see like such a bloody movie. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Nothing compared to how the Kingsman will be, but
no, nothing compared to that. I'm not seeing anything, to be honest.
Interesting. Well, we'll find out soon enough.
I'm looking and I'm like, I don't see anything. But this movie is the 5th collaboration between Guy Ritchie and Jason Statham.
Yes, it is.
Which don't ask me what they are because I don't know. I'm not a big Jason Statham person. Like, I think the only thing I've seen with him in it is Hobbs and Shaw, and he was in that. Like, not much. Yeah, he was in that a bit, I think. Actually, I don't know what I'm thinking.
I think he was the villain in Fast.
I'm very tired.
I think it was Fast 7. He was the villain in that movie, and then he also played in a bunch of movies. And early, he played Expendables 1, 2, and 3. He was in The Italian Job with Mark Wahlberg. He's been in so much. He big action star.
Mm-hmm. But Guy Ritchie, speaking of him, he is the director for the movie, and he has 29 director credits. He did Aladdin, which is the live-action remake by Disney, and he's also announced that he's directing Aladdin 2.
Wasn't Guy Ritchie? He did the Robert Downey Jr. and Jude Law Sherlock movies, didn't he?
Yes.
The
back
new
in 2009.
Yes,
he did 1 and 2. And then he also did The Gentleman, which is recent.
Yep. I wanted to see that, so I still got to see that movie.
Yeah, I still do too. I was gonna watch it the other day on demand, but I was like,
I was actually gonna see that in theaters, and then I
bombed in theaters.
It didn't.
It was bad.
It didn't bomb, but it didn't get the theater attention it deserved.
Like every single showing of that movie was like empty,
which is no weird. It had a good opening weekend, but after that it was like
where?
No. Everywhere.
That's my question. Where? Yeah, I'm so excited for this. I definitely will see it. Like I said, probably after it comes out on Netflix.
It does look really good, but honestly, it all depends on what else comes out in January around that time.
Yeah.
Maybe I'll see Spider-Man again.
I don't feel bad going to the movie theaters if it's like a daytime show where there's like no one in the theater. But if it's like a crowded sardine can, no thank you, I'm good.
Well, it's never crowded on weekdays. Just go on a weekday night.
You can't say it's never crowded on weekdays.
I 1,000% can.
Because I used to work in a movie theater, and there were some weekdays that were hell.
Depends on the movie.
Yeah.
You know that.
Literally, you'd just go on the weekday, and you'd see Downton Abbey. And it would just be full theater.
Okay, that's weird.
Of old women.
Yeah, I'd never see Downton Abbey, so that's understandable.
Anything geared towards older people are smash hits on weekday mornings.
Yeah, I bet. Because that's all they do. They wake up at 4 a.m. They have their cup of coffee. They have their donut, their eggs, or their bacon, or their bagel. And then they go for their power walk, which was usually around our old mall. And then they'd be like, okay, now that we're all loose and goose, let's go sit down and watch Downton Abbey. Oh, I believe there's a 1 o'clock showing. Oh, perfect. Then we have 3 more hours until we have to go to bed. Okay. Now I've done my old people stereotypes. Yep. But I'm rather excited for this movie, and it is going to be probably the only good movie that will be coming out around that time.
Yeah, I don't know what is coming around in January. I don't think there's much. I think we've talked about a couple things, but I cannot remember dates.
I don't believe we have anything really, really close to January, but we will find out soon.
Yeah, we'll see.
And now, one of my personal favorite topics of today. I've been waiting ever since this was announced for a trailer, and we finally got a sneak peek of a little preview of the Halo series coming out in 2022, streaming on Paramount Plus. Now, I, for one, am very excited about this series because I have been a huge Halo fan pretty much my entire life.
Yep.
The first ever game on Xbox I ever played with my older brother, actually, was Halo Combat Evolved. And ever since that game, fell in love with Halo, got every single Halo game. There was a movie that was released, I believe, in 2010 or 2011, somewhere around there. It was not a movie theater movie, but it was on Netflix for a while. It was called Halo Forward Unto Dawn. Mm-hmm. And it wasn't bad, but it was really good, especially the end. We see, the main character of the entire franchise, basically, the Spartan 117, John, aka Master Chief. We see him at the end of that movie, which is really great, and I am so excited to see what this series brings, because just from that 1-minute trailer, you may not have thought it was a lot, but I tell you, there is a lot to talk, a decent amount to talk about in a 1-minute trailer that we see, and I can even tell you what I saw and think about it and be like, oh, wow, okay.
So, I have played bits and pieces of Halo games. I've never played like a full-on, finished a campaign because I just can't be bothered.
Okay, you know what? We should do that then. Sorry to go off topic, everyone, but you know what? We have the Master Chief Collection. Over vacation,
no,
we should play multiplayer campaign. No. You will love it.
I think we tried that.
No, you want to play Halo Reach.
Mission.
No, you want to play Halo Reach. We played Halo Reach together, and it's not part of the Master Chief Collection.
Okay, well, so Halo Reach is the one game that I've actually played more of than anything else.
It's like a prequel. It's a good game. It's a great game.
Because, I grew up playing, bits and pieces of Halo. I never owned Halo, but every time I went over to my other cousin's house, I would play, bits and pieces, and just I was young. I was just fucking around, having a good time.
And there's it's such a great game to fuck around with and play and have fun with it.
There's certain games I can fully vision in my head right now, and I've tried to explain them to you and be like, what game is this from? Because I need it. I need to be back on this map such like nostalgia. Like the one with it's like a hotel, and there's in the bottom basement there's like a koi pond. I literally like
What the fuck are
can
you
envision
talking
that.
about?
It is a Halo map. That's kind of like it looks like a hotel, and there's a koi pond at the bottom of it, with like actual fish in the pond.
That might be Halo 3 or...
Like I
It
can
might be
fully
Halo
remember
Reach.
that map.
Okay, anyway.
But like I've never been like a full sit down, fully finish a campaign.
You gotta
like
change
I
that.
started Halo Infinite,
Halo is one of the...
done the first mission.
Halo is one of the only franchises that I've absolutely loved a goddamn campaign. Like, like there are some that are better than others, but all in all, the franchise as a whole is just a great. It's a great game, and Halo Infinite that just actually came out, was released, is fantastic. I love the multiplayer, and I rarely ever played multiplayer in Halo, but I love the multiplayer in Halo now, and I love the campaign through and through. And there's so much stuff they've added into this campaign, making it an open world campaign Halo game, which is really cool, that you can just do whatever you want and not really focus on the main quest yet, which is really, really cool to see. But all in all, this Halo series looks incredibly stunning, like visually.
Yeah.
And we only saw like a couple shot by shots of what it was, but I do like the aspect that it isn't going to be all background story, because we see a ton of military. We see the UNSC. We see a ton of them. We see them in their main base with the Pelican carrier in the background, when they're all like charging up and getting ready for. Looks like they were getting ready for war. You have sirens and lights flashing, and not only that, we get to see a glimpse of a Spartan team during that scene. They're marching, and I believe one of them has a sniper rifle, the other a shotgun, and show close-ups of two of them, which is really cool because it was different armor from what we're used to with the Master Chief.
So with the Master Chief too, I'm really hoping that we get to see him without a mask on.
That is
the reason
highly unlikely.
I'm saying that is because the person acting as Master Chief is not the same person as everything else, which was done by Steve Dow's.
Yeah, for the games and everything.
With him not returning as that role, I'm really hoping that the reason they chose that is because he's gonna have like a face reveal. You know what I mean? Like that would aggravate me if we didn't, because bring back the person that has been. I mean,
it could be a different scenario as well. Maybe it could be, maybe he'll return to voice Master Chief, and maybe they just casted him for body type, like they did with
I don't think he was even credited though.
He might not have been, but it might have been a surprise. But what I'm saying is because remember in the Star Wars movies, Darth Vader, James Earl Jones, he was just the voice.
But I'm pretty sure it always said him in the credits. You know what I mean?
Well, yeah, I know it did, but this could be like a surprise for homage to the fans. You know what I mean? Homage. I should say, sorry. But on top of that, I was very excited to see in the trailer that we do get Master Chief in this Halo series.
Yep. Which
is great, and it makes me wonder, because in it we also see a younger looking Dr. Catherine Elizabeth Halsey, who is basically, she's the mother of the Spartan program. You know what I mean? She created the serum that they injected all these trials, these people who went through and withstood the trial to become a Spartan. And she looks a lot younger than she does like in the video games. So it makes me wonder that maybe this Halo series could possibly take place before the first Halo game. Or if not, that maybe what they're seeing of Dr. Halsey is pre-recorded audio logs and video logs of like trying to like figure something out with her work. But because we do see she's younger in this, and as of right now in the Halo timeline, she is much older, and also missing an arm. So, and I did see in the cast that we do have a Cortana. You gotta know who Cortana is. Oh, come on! Cortana is basically Master Chief's backbone. She's his AI. Okay. That was given to him by, I believe it was.
Well, like I said, I've never literally played through a campaign.
So it's very, very emotional. And spoilers, if you haven't played Halo 4 or 5, guys, I mean, come on, the game's been out for almost 10 years, both of them. Cortana's with you through the entirety of Halo.
Uh-huh.
But in Halo 4, she starts malfunctioning. And she's reaching the end of her artificial intelligence life. And at the end of Halo 4, she sacrifices herself so Chief can escape. And then Halo 5, she actually plays the villain. And you don't know she's the villain until Master Chief and his Spartan team go to try and recover her, and then another Spartan team goes to hunt him down because basically Master Chief is going rogue to risk his life for a broken AI. Mm-hmm. But it's really cool that we get this. That's which makes me believe that it's also before Halo as well, because now we have a new version of Cortana in Halo Infinite. They just call her Weapon. She's basically almost like a copy of Cortana's interface, but she doesn't have any of the same information or knowledge of Cortana. So that makes me believe that since we don't have official Cortana now, that this was before the first Halo game, and where we could get like a little introduction between the two. And we also see that in the cast there's Captain Keyes, who is the main UNSC captain, who in the first game you actually see him and you interact with him on the ship in the first mission. Mm-hmm. And then he ends up being killed by the Flood, which I will talk about in a minute. With Halo, you know about the Flood, right? The ones that like hug your face and like turn you like mutated monsters.
So
what the fuck? We're playing Halo.
I've never gone through a campaign.
Shut up. We're gonna play Halo. We're gonna
play Halo.
Halo.
What a good old grunt.
Fuck you. Okay. Anyway, but we see Captain Keyes, and we also have a casting for Miranda Keyes, his daughter, who ends up taking command after her father dies in the first one. So it's gonna be, that leads me into now I'm talking about it more. It's 100% before Halo 1 because Miranda Keyes and Captain Keyes both die in the series. He dies in the first one and she dies at the end of the third game.
So I wonder if this takes place during like the beginning of the first game.
Well, it could lead into that, and it could maybe if we see a second season of this, it could, because I believe you awake from a cryo freeze in the beginning of the first game. I believe that's what happens. So maybe it will lead into them. Maybe the Spartan team that we see besides Chief, maybe they all die and he's the last one at the moment of the team. So maybe they want to cryo freeze and preserve him in case they really, really, really need him. Yeah. And it could, if we have a season 2, it could lead into the Halo, basing it off the Halo 1 game, which would be really cool. But now I want to talk about the shots we see with Halo within the trailer, because like I said, we see the shot with the Pelican in the background and all the soldiers running up in UNSC. It looks like something's about to go down. Uh-huh. And then we see kind of like a jet flying over crashed. It looks like almost like a crashed like Covenant ship. Mm-hmm. It could be. Which is going to be really interesting to see, because we didn't really see any enemies that we 100% know about.
They're probably keeping that under wraps.
Because it could be. And again, this could be completely just like a different Halo story, and maybe like they could just like completely try to revamp it. We don't know. Okay. So they could either do the Covenant like we see in the first Halo game with the elites and the grunts, the basics, but then we could also possibly see maybe the brutes, like the big like ape-like aliens. But on top of that one shot that did really catch my eye was there was a shot in space. What to you would probably just look like a giant rock connected to a bunch of other rocks. I don't believe that is just a rock. I believe that is the Flood. No, I believe that's the Flood. Oh. So the Flood is like it's like a Unimind. It's they operate by, they have these pods, these eggs that they spawn these little like egg these face, they call them face suckers. They basically they latch onto a host and they mutate it into one of them, and that's how. And they take control, and they've taken over planets, and they try to take over Earth. And actually, that's what the game is really based off of too. Is trying to destroy the Flood as well, because Halo refers to the rings, that are all around the galaxy, the Halo rings, and they weren't. And in the game, it explains that they were just believed to be artifacts, but no, they're actually weapons to use against the Flood and to completely wipe out the Flood. Okay. But the only way to wipe out the Flood is by taking away its source of food, which is people and life and sentient beings. So that's like the whole conflict is like they don't want to activate the Halo ring because it'll not only kill the Flood, but also kill the humans. It'll wipe out humanity as they know it. So it's going to be really cool to see that if we don't really get too much of the Covenant as the main, backbone of the fighting and the conflict, we will see that the Flood is a huge conflict as well. And it's very cool to see that, it's going to be a majority in space because we see the Flood in space.
Yeah.
And then we also see so many, we see them on a ship with the Pelicans and everything, and we see that jet almost, and then we see that it looks like if it's not a different part of Earth, it maybe it'll be a different planet that Chief is on when he's walking towards this like pillar he sees, like in these underground caverns.
Yeah.
And we will have a lot to see with this, and I'm glad it's 9 episodes.
Yep.
Which is great. And I really hope that not only we get to see the Flood, but we do get to see Master Chief completely just annihilate some jackals and brutes and grunts and elites. That'd be really cool.
So what I'm thinking, maybe, speaking of, we might not get them, too much in the series. I wonder if they'll become a threat towards the end of the series.
Well, I mean, most
of the series will focus on this Flood.
I don't 100. I mean, it could, but it could not, because in the first game, the Flood wasn't introduced until kind of like the middle of the game. It kind of was like if the game was
taking place beforehand.
Yeah, but the Flood was never introduced until the first game. So if this takes place beforehand, maybe the Flood will be acting as like, they identify the Flood, but they don't identify. You know what I mean? Like they acknowledge it's there.
Do they not know about?
They didn't know.
They
about
just
it.
Learn about it
in the first game. They land on this part of the planet where it's either the planet or the Halo ring, but the Flood is occupying it. And Captain Keyes' crew, actually, he's running with a squad, and they go into this like temple almost, and Master Chief learns on an audio log that Cortana pulls up that they were attacked by the Flood, and then you end up getting attacked by the Flood. It's nuts. But
so I really wonder if this is gonna follow the first game.
I don't think it will follow the first game because again we see a Spartan team. So we again, like I said, we see a younger Elizabeth Halsey. So I believe it could take place before the franchise. But it will be really cool, and it'll lead even further questions especially because basing it off the games, if it will follow any point of that, because I would love to see a second and third season of this, especially because more towards the second. I know in the second game you actually got to play as the Arbiter, who was an elite. He's an alien, and then by the third game, you're working with the elites, and Arbiter and Master Chief are literally partners in crime. And Halo 3 is probably easily my favorite Halo game ever. And after the Covenant's really disbanded because of the hierarchy with the brutes taking over, the elites kind of like say, fuck the Covenant, fuck the brutes. Let's work with the UNSC and the humans, and let's take back our honor from the brutes and all that. And then even in the 5th game, you actually see the Arbiter leading an entire like society of elites and grunts that are like, fuck the Covenant, because the Covenant really doesn't exist anymore, and they have this new band of aliens called the Banished, which are also the main antagonists of Halo Infinite. So it'll be really cool to see if this gets multiple seasons, that we see the conflict at first, and then we see the rising growth and cohesiveness in what's the word I'm looking for?
It'll really depend on how good the series does.
I feel like it's going to do really well, because Halo has such a huge fan base. Because, I mean, holy crap. We have Halo 1, we have Halo 2, we have Halo 3, we have Halo 3 ODST, we have Halo 4, Halo Reach, Halo 5, Halo Wars 1 and 2, Halo Infinite.
The fact that it's coming to Paramount Plus might be... That'll be the figuring out of how all this does.
I mean, I feel like Paramount Plus has done really well with their shows.
They've done well.
And Halo, again, has a pre-existing fan base, and it's been out. The first game came out in 2001 or 3, I believe it. So it's been around for 20 years. And not only that, they had Rooster Teeth did a pretty famous Red vs. Blue, which was based around Halo. It was Red Team and Blue Team Spartans. They also had, that movie Forward Unto Dawn. They've had a couple animated movies, shows, clips, and everything. it's very successful, and they sell, sell a lot of merchandise, so like replicas and like action figures and whatnot. So I feel like the series would do really, really well. And I hope it does really, really well again, because I want to see a second, third.
Yeah.
I want to see I want to see 6 seasons.
I think
6 seasons in a movie.
I think with it being on Paramount Plus, it has a lot better chance to get a season 2.
Yeah.
Because it was originally supposed to be a Showtime project and like a Showtime series.
Yeah.
So I feel like it has more of a chance to flourish on Paramount Plus than Showtime would.
I feel like I feel like it will definitely get a season 2, but I'm thinking will happen is, depending on the success, how fast we get a season 2.
Mm-hmm.
Because it does take some projects to get a while to get greenlit. Hell, the first 2 episodes could come out, and then they could probably greenlit the second season.
Yeah.
So it will be a lot to see.
It'll depend on how good audiences feel about it, early on.
Yeah.
And I'm very excited to see if it's gonna come out week by week or all in once, because I think iCarly came out week by week.
Week by week, yeah. I feel like it will be week by week, because that's what we see nowadays with the streaming platforms. That they do week by week, like Hawkeye, and yeah, I know, me
it's
too.
It's so
man.
annoying.
Well, I hope they do what these shows usually do. Like Hawkeye released the first 2 episodes on launch, which was really cool. So maybe they will do that.
They can release the first 9, and I'd be happy.
Say the first 8. They're gonna be 45 minutes long.
Okay, first 8.
45 to an hour, which is.
Then you can give me the last one.
That's what I'm more excited too. Is that not only like we get a piece of my childhood as a live action series now, but now they're gonna be almost like a whole movie watching it in one episode, and there's 9 of them.
Yep.
And because I love, don't get me wrong, I love other streaming services with their shows, with all the Marvel ones especially. But my problem is that not enough episodes. WandaVision had the most episodes, and it was because it was the first one. And then Loki had 6. Falcon Winter Soldier had 6. Hawkeye we have 2 more left. Well, by the time this is airing, we'll have 1 more left, which will be coming out right before Christmas, which I'll be sad and depressed about. But anyway, no, but I'm very excited. There'll
still be 2 more out when this airs.
No, it's Friday. Guys, just for your prior knowledge, we are filming this on Wednesday, so Hawkeye releases today, episode 5, and then there's episode 6.
I haven't seen 4 then.
You haven't seen 4,
late.
mister? You missed your girl.
I'm late.
You missed Florence Pugh. Late.
I didn't realize I had missed last week's.
You did.
I don't know. I fell into a Star Wars wormhole the past weekend.
Okay. Yeah.
So
I get it. All right. But no, I'm very excited for this project, and if I can get this motherfucker to play Halo with me over winter break, he will probably be way more excited about it as well.
It, yeah. But this is 4 directors. The first one is Jonathan Liebsman. Liebsman. He has
Loobs?
Yeah, Loobs.
Oh my god, no, Liebs.
He has
Stop it.
10 director credits. And he's doing 4 episodes of the series.
Better not fuck up my series, guy. A lot of pressure.
He did the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles back in 2014. And he did the Texas Chainsaw Massacre, the beginning.
Beginning, was that the older one?
I don't fucking know. I don't watch scary movies.
I don't think that was a 2009 version.
I'm not a horror movie person.
I am worried about our second director on this list, Otto Bathurst, because the Robin Hood 2018, that's the live action with Jamie Foxx and Taron Egerton.
Yes.
Did not do well.
I haven't seen it.
It did not do. I thought it was an okay movie. It had pretty good action. But holy shit, did it bomb? It bombed. So
This whole list is a little interesting because he has 20 credits. He's doing 2 episodes of the series, and the most notable thing I could pull was Robin Hood 2018. The next one is Roel Reen, who has 48 director credits.
Probably all smaller stuff.
He's doing 2 episodes, and I couldn't pull a single thing I recognized.
Oh, leave us a little suspicion, a little ominous.
Everything was like, I think they were German projects. And a lot of shorts. Yeah, it was tough.
I am excited to see Jessica Lowry because I am familiar with her because I believe she had a few producer credits on The Walking Dead as well, and I know she directed one episode of Fear the Walking Dead.
I didn't
which is great.
see any director credits of what.
No,
She's probably
producer is what I
okay.
said.
But she has 17 director credits.
Yeah,
she's
and
doing one episode of this series.
I watched Fear the Walking Dead, and it's pretty good. I kind of like, after season 2, I just couldn't anymore. And then even The Walking Dead, I loved The Walking. You know how much I love The Walking Dead. I couldn't even after the show got completely derailed from its roots, and I just couldn't anymore. From I've read all the comics, and I just couldn't anymore. Like, oh my god, okay, you know what? I'll keep caught up with it on internet, but I'm not gonna watch it. And Doom Patrol, which is a very good show. I believe it's on the DC network.
It is a DC, but it's on HBO Max.
Oh, that's what it is. Yeah. And I've heard nothing but good things about Doom Patrol. All their episodes. So at least I have full confidence in Jessica Lowry for that one episode.
The one episode of the series that's gonna do well.
It's gonna do great. I already know it's gonna do great, and I have hope, high hope, for everything else for the series. But I'm very excited for it, and I will be watching that week by week. So very excited for that.
I'll probably just wait and just binge watch it.
I love that. Should be your fucking catchphrase. I'm gonna get you a shirt. I'm gonna get you a shirt that just says it's gonna have our logo on the corner, and it's just saying I'll probably just wait. And then it just on the bottom, Chris White. That's the catchphrase.
I love
the fucking.
Well, I'm already behind on fucking Hawkeye, and I plan to watch it week by week. So it shows how good I am at that.
All right. And finally today, which I am the most excited about to talk about, is our third installment for J.K. Rowling's The Fantastic Beasts: The Secrets of Dumbledore, which is coming out April 15th, 2022. So that makes me more excited because we don't have to wait too long for it.
Yeah, 4 months.
4 months.
Or 5 months.
Yeah, and I hope we actually get the Harry Potter game before this comes out. Because that'll be even... That'll just put the icing...
We don't have a release date for that.
On the cake.
There's a lot of Harry Potter stuff coming out in 2022.
It's going to be great.
Because we've got... Coming out on the 1st of the January.
Yeah, the 20th on HBO Max.
We've got...
It's on HBO Max.
The 1st of January.
Yeah. Okay. HBO Max.
We've got...
The reunion.
You said the 20th and I was all confused. The 1st of January, we have the HBO Max
20th anniversary, yep.
We've got this movie, and then we've also got the Harry Potter game, which is supposed to be like an open world Harry Potter.
Which is going to be great. It's going to be so cool. If it's not open world, it's going to be open Hogwarts, which is going to be even cooler.
I think it's open world. I think that was the whole draw to it.
It might. But this movie is going to be fucking great. I'm very excited. Yeah. There are some aspects that I will dive in and talk about that I'm not excited for. But yeah, right off the bat, we see a reflection of old Dumbledore in the trailer that also reflects...
Which I was so confused about.
I bet you were. But it's just a reflection of him taking his own advice from the future.
The reason I was confused was because this is before the Harry Potter movies.
Yes.
So it's a reflection, but it looks like a flashback, but this is not.
It's like a flash.
Is the past, not the future.
Well, it's like almost because their idea and the pull for that was that future Dumbledore has taken his own advice from his past self, and that's why it shows him without him saying. It shows Michael Gambon's Dumbledore without him saying a single thing, and then it goes right to Jude Law in that transition in the trailer. Mm-hmm. Which is very cool to see that, and it looks like we're going to be getting a lot of Jude Law's Dumbledore in this. I mean, for fuck's sake, it's titled "The Secrets of Dumbledore," and. What did you pull? I feel like I had a lot to talk about with Halo. I want to hear your thoughts on this.
Well, the first thing I pulled was talking about that because it made me think can he see the future, or I guess as you mentioned, he's just his advice in the future comes from what happened in the past. But I was so confused because I was why are we seeing old Dumbledore? Because this isn't a flashback. It takes place in the past. This happens before the events of Harry Potter. So that made me super fucking confused.
Okay, yeah.
I was thrown off and I didn't know what was going on. Then I wanted to talk about Jacob. getting a wand.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, he does. Which I will add to this. I think we're gonna learn a lot more about Jacob this movie that we were misled in the first two, because he gets a wand, and we do see him actually being able to cast a couple spells, and he does talk about it. And like, why would Dumbledore give him a wand if it's not gonna work? So what I'm thinking is that maybe Jacob actually has ancestral magic within his gene pool, because if you remember from Fantastic Beasts 2, Jacob remembers everything that happened in the first movie, and he went to say, you say you erase the bad memories I have of wizards. Turns out I didn't have any. But what if that wasn't the case? What if he wasn't affected by the obliviation, by the potion, because he was already of magical descent, and that it didn't affect him because he's not a full Muggle? Maybe he could be. I mean, he also, not only that, he could be a mudblood, like Hermione was.
Yeah.
So he could have been born a wizard without him even knowing, and his parents could have been Muggles. But it's gonna be really interesting to see, because
the other idea I feel following that, and I wonder if magic is kind of like the Force, where it runs in everyone, but it doesn't really come out without proper training.
No, it's not like that. You're the born with, it's not like that, because if that was the case, we wouldn't have squibs. Squibs are people who are born from magical descent. Like a squib. If you don't know, is say my mom and dad were both wizards and witches, and I was born and I had no magical powers. I'd be a squib. That's what Filch is. That's why he's there. You never see Filch cast a spell once in the Harry Potter movies at all, because he's a squib. But because he's of magical descent, he is able to work at Hogwarts. And then the lady in the Order of the Phoenix, remember the lady that finds Dudley and Harry, the old lady, and then she walks them home after they get attacked by Dementors. She's a squib working for Dumbledore. So I don't believe it's like that at all, because of those cases in scenario, because of the squibs. So yeah, it's gonna be really cool, and it seems as though he gets that wand early on in the movie, because and I actually want to talk about that scene too, because
he gets it on the train.
Yep. And he gets on the train, and I want to talk about that scene too, because we see a new character there with them, who is let me see, I had it pulled up. What was her name? Jessica Williams, I believe the character is. She plays Yulani Hicks, who is actually an American professor from Ilvermorny, the American school for witchcraft and wizardry. And it looks like she's going to be... briefly, she's actually seen in the Fantastic Beasts, The Crimes of Grindelwald, when Nicholas Flamel was flipping through the pages to contact the Madam President from America. And maybe Dumbledore, I think, did he talk to Dumbledore in that scene? In that page, but remember, when he's flipping the pages, and then you see all the...
I don't remember.
You remember
Actually,
that?
I do remember that scene, but I don't remember what he did after it.
But so he's flipping through the pages to talk to the president, but you actually see her. She's one of the important contacts. So and it's really cool to see that she's going to play a significant role in this, and teaming up with Newt and Theseus and Dumbledore. And you actually see, and I feel as though maybe she'll have some unspoken connection with Theseus, and maybe they might I know he's probably still mourning over the death of Lita Lestrange, his fiance, but maybe she'll be his stepping point to moving on, because it kind of remember the scene when they're back to back and they get attacked by 4 of Grindelwald's followers, and they're in a duel. The 2 of them are fighting the four followers. And not only that, then you have Theseus talk about that Newt's assistant is also a part of their little team up.
Yeah,
which is, it's weird to me, because not only that, we don't the trailer, we didn't see really anything of Tina.
Yeah, I don't know.
Which is really weird. Because we saw his assistant, and we saw Jacob, and we saw Theseus, and we saw Miss Hicks and Newt. So, with else Tina?
She's bad now.
No, Queenie is. Which
is she?
Yeah, you remember she goes to Grindelwald at the end of the second one. You need to rewatch this movie.
After I watch finish the Star Wars stuff, I'm
because
gonna move on to
that's what we make. Like
Rewatching
she
Harry
is confirmed. Catherine Waterston is confirmed to return as Tina. So what I'm thinking is that maybe she's kind of like she's working with them, but not in the group. Maybe she's trying to hunt down Queenie and get her sister back.
undercover.
Nah, I wouldn't say undercover, but
Wizard.
but we do see that a lot, and then going more into talking about the characters, we see the return of Vinda Rosier, who is like the main bitch with Grindelwald.
The main bitch.
The main bitch with Grindelwald. And you know what? I might as well just rip this Band-Aid off. Let's talk about Grindelwald.
Oh God.
Mads Mikkelsen.
Fucking annoyed as shit.
I'm not annoyed that he was casted, because from the trailer it gave me some hope. Nothing's gonna beat Johnny Depp as Grindelwald. There's no one can, and I'm just more annoyed that the whole situation happened and Johnny Depp did nothing wrong, proven, and he was still cut from the movie. Johnny Depp filmed one scene.
Yes.
And then he was fired.
Yeah, he filmed one scene, and he had a contract that was a pay or play contract.
Yep.
Which means that he received his full $16 million pay
for
that one
scene.
Hey, that's a job.
Pay's a pay. Job's a job.
I'd take $16 for filming one scene, be honest.
But with Mads Mikkelsen playing Grindelwald, it's very weird because, you know, we already have the previous existing interpretation of Grindelwald through Johnny Depp. So it's weird because it sounded like Johnny Depp almost had like more of like a more British accent to him. It seems that Mads Mikkelsen doesn't have too much of a British accent.
Did we hear him speak at all?
A little bit, because he says the war for the Muggles starts now. War on the Muggles starts now, and then he talks to others, briefly though. I mean, it could have just been because he was yelling. Yeah. But another thing I did want to talk about too. There's a scene where he is actually another part of their team is Yusef Kama, who at the end of the second one, who was hunting down Eustace, and turns out Eustace is the wrong person he wasn't supposed to kill, and the guy he was supposed to kill was already dead. He's part of the team. It looks as though you see in the trailer he pulls a memory out of Yusef's head. Yep. And then you see later in the trailer he's in a pool. So what I'm thinking is maybe he's using that memory, and maybe that pool is a pensive. Remember in Dumbledore's office, that's how maybe he was viewing a memory. Important to stopping the group. We'll call him Team Dumbledore. Okay. So, and it was really cool, and that seems really cool too, because it looked like he was actually in a disagreement with another character I want to talk about right after is Eustace, because you see in the trailer Eustace now has long hair, which I believe maybe signifies that a decent amount of time has passed from the second to third, because you see Dumbledore is a much not longer but more bushier and
I think they're more supposed to do that, because I feel like didn't Dan Fogler lose a lot of weight? I think he did. He played Jacob.
Oh, Jacob, yeah.
So you got to make some time look like
maybe I feel maybe as though we'll see a time jump of maybe at least 5 years. At least, and maybe a max of like almost 10, because I believe this series is supposed to go for 5 movies, and I believe that the series is going to end with the famous duel between Dumbledore and Grindelwald in 1945, because that's when it happens. Okay, is when Dumbledore defeats Grindelwald. So I believe that will happen, but you do see Eustace having long hair. And if you see in the trailer when he's in the pensive, the maybe pensive, he throws the water and then apparates to the guy he throws the water at, and you see he has long hair, which could also connect to Eustace. But then you also see one of the person in the room behind Eustace when that happens, and the woman Vinda Rosier, and you see in another scene where Eustace is almost, it looks like he's breaking a magic barrier spell, as you see, like, remember when he's like cutting through something. Kind of like his wand, and you see her behind him. So it looks like they're probably really, really paired up on like missions for Grindelwald a lot. So I'm thinking that it was Eustace, and maybe Eustace is losing faith and losing trust in Grindelwald. And
as he should.
Yeah, as he should, yeah. And maybe he's threatening him. Another thing with Eustace, it was really cool to see the Phoenix, more of the Phoenix. You see him on the cliffside and you see the Phoenix flying, which is really, really cool to see. And then more on Eustace, we see a lot of his obscurial magic being used when he's in the streets, and he's casting all that. And it looks like he's losing control of his emotions, like he did in the second movie when I believe she was a goblin, when the orb that was actually working for Grindelwald, we find out, shot at him but wasn't meant to hit him, and it killed the goblin lady who was actually a part of his family, who she was like the servant. He lost his emotions then, and we see him, maybe something happened that maybe Dumbledore triggered, and he could see Dumbledore and feel like this loss of abandonment and, oh, my family didn't want me, because he probably still believes in that lie that he's a Dumbledore, and he gets emotional. He has the obscure magic behind him, and then you see him charge at Dumbledore, and it looks like Dumbledore doesn't want to hurt Eustace, because you see that, and then instead of fighting back, really, he just stops him from like really trying to push him, and then he apparates away. And then you see later in the trailer, he casts more of that obscurial magic at Dumbledore, and he has a shield up, and then he just raises a hand, and it clears. So it looks like Dumbledore most certainly has more than enough power to deal with an obscurial, but he doesn't want to hurt or kill Eustace. He wants to save him, it looks like. And that was evident from the second movie when he sent Newt after him to help him and make sure he's safe. Anything else you'd like to talk about at the moment?
The room of requirement.
Yes, so we do get the room of requirement.
Yep.
Didn't call it that, but heavily hinted.
Well, it was, what is this room called? The room we require.
What is this place? It's the room you require. And then, which is very interesting to see, because there's like nothing in it except a porky. Giant bell.
Yep.
Which I believe the symbols on it are of Brazilian descent. And we see in the trailer,
I think this movie is supposed to take place a lot in Brazil.
A lot of it takes place in Brazil, which is if you see the shots where they're on the stairs, that's the Brazilian school, wizarding school.
Okay.
And it looks like a huge fight may actually take place there, because you see Grindelwald when he says the war from the Muggle starts now, and they're on top. It looks like they're on top of that school when they get to the top of the stairs.
Okay.
Not only that, so it's like the bell. It was like almost like a bell. I believe the portkey was. So
it looked like a cylinder to me.
Yeah, like a cylinder bell. It's how they like. It's weird. It's almost like a thimble kind of like thing, you know.
Oh.
It was weird. It was a weirdly shaped object, but it did look like it had I could be wrong, but it had like almost like what are they called? Like the feathery things at the bottom. You know what I mean? Like, almost like for decoration. Like
it looked like it was floating to me.
It did look like so. It didn't look like it was on a string, but it looked like the markings were of Brazilian descent. Like I was saying, like that's probably how they get there.
That's how they get to the Brazilian school.
And on top of that, like a lot of it does take place in Brazil, like we said. So what I'm also thinking is maybe that when Newt and Pickett get off that raft, maybe that's also in Brazil, and they were looking for that new beast.
Uh-huh.
And then it actually sounds like Pickett says, "Look at that!" Like he's like little cute motherfucking squeak voice.
Mm-hmm.
So that could also take part in Brazil, the setting of Brazil, and it also looked like that area where Theseus and Miss Hicks get into that dueling match with Grindelwald's followers. That also looks like Brazil as well. And not only that, is that it looked to be the same setting as the significance of we see in the trailer a golden snitch. It's flying around Hogwarts, and then we see
right off the bat.
Yeah, right off the bat, and then we see Dumbledore, and it has the snitch, and he grabs it. So what I'm thinking is that the snitch is important significance to Dumbledore, like he did in Deathly Hallows, how he hid the Resurrection Stone in the golden snitch. Mm-hmm. So what and then that scene when he grabs it, it looks like he's also in Brazil. So maybe it looks like that all that stuff happens like right off the bat from one another. And as well as, you know, all those characters and stuff. Talk about a character that we didn't see too much in the trailer, but we did see her, Queenie Goldstein. Uh-huh. And it's weird because we do see her in it looks to be a flashback, which is weird because you see that Jacob's hugging her in his shop, his bakery, but they're wearing the same clothes as they did at the end of the first movie.
Yes.
So it maybe look like there could be a situation because we also do see that.
Well, they probably wanted to show her, but also not show that she's bad.
Well, no, apparently the woman in the black dress was Queenie.
Okay.
So I believe that maybe that during that scene, Joe's trying to like talk to her and like try and like get her back. That maybe she actually captures him, and maybe she's trying to like torment him, and maybe that memory of them in the bake that's just a memory that either she's torturing him with or he's trying to get her to remember. But it looked more of the torture side because she's smiling and he's like almost crying while he's hugging her. And so it is going to be very interesting to see. And I wonder though, because we don't really hear a lot of Jacob Kowalski in Harry Potter movies. So I wonder if maybe not in this one or maybe the fourth one, we possibly could see a death of Jacob.
I hope not.
I hope not either, but you know what? It might happen. I'm almost positive Tina doesn't die because I'm pretty sure Newt and Tina actually do get married. After all this.
Yeah, I really hope he doesn't die because he is one of my favorites. In this series.
He's a great actor. He's really funny too. But this is going to be a great movie, and I'm very excited for it.
Yeah. It gets released on Emma Watson's 32nd birthday.
Oh, would you look at that?
On April 15th.
That's gonna be really cool. That's gonna be really awesome, and I'm very excited to see the return of the one and only David Yates.
Yep.
To direct this movie.
Director. Yep. 27 previous director credits.
And thank God, because he has that knowledge. He has that passion for this franchise.
Yeah, he's been doing this for a while. He did Harry Potter, Order of the Phoenix.
2007, I believe, is when the Order of the Phoenix came out.
Remember. But he did Harry Potter and the Half-Blood Prince.
Yep.
Deathly Hallows Part 1 and Part 2. He also did Fantastic Beasts 1 and 2.
Yep.
He's going to be doing Fantastic Beasts 3.
And 4. And 5!
He'll be doing 4 and 5.
Let's go, David!
In the future.
Which is it's just incredible, and it's great to see that we get the same director. Yep. And he, again, like I said, he understands the story, and him and J.K. Rowling work so well together with her creating the story and him bringing it to life in such a creative way. I love I'm trying to think. Sorry, the shot and the way they did it with the how they really first did it in the fifth one we saw in the Order of the Phoenix with the paper. Seeing like the Daily Prophet, and how we see like the shots like that, you know what I mean? Where it's like it shows everything and it's like all moving, and then like the transitions, which was incredible that he did it that way. And I believe he was the first Harry Potter director to do it that way, and which was it just adds so much more suspense to the movies and the scene and what's going on around it.
Yep.
So I kind of hope that with everything going on with Grindelwald being out and about and really rallying up his followers, that we see more of those shots. With Grindelwald, and actually another thing too, it looked like a scene I want to talk about was when they're in the Great Hall.
Yep.
And he's casting. It looks like he's casting the mountains and the stairs to where he's talking about where they need to go. And it actually looks like, I believe it was Newt or Theseus was holding a paper and it says "Murdered Muggles." So we could very well see a shot like that. And it made me chuckle mainly because we're Hufflepuffs. When he's like, when Newt gets it correct, he's like, yes, exactly correct. 3 points to Hufflepuff.
Yep.
That line really cracked me. I was like, he said it. I was like, he said it. He did it. And I love Jude Law's casting for this for Dumbledore. I was really excited when he was announced in Fantastic Beasts: Crimes of Grindelwald. And we saw such little acting, but Jude Law, he played Dumbledore perfectly. Mm-hmm. And I'm going to be honest, depending how we see him in this movie, I might like him better than Michael Gambon. Because in the books, Dumbledore is such a calm and collective character, and we see that in the second movie. Yeah. And when he's calmly sitting there while the Minister of Magic is getting pissed off at him, and then he casts those spells so the Ministry can track whatever spell he conjures.
Yep.
And he talks. He's like, Theseus, if you have a trust in me, and then he convinces him, and he talks to Lita, and even though Lita hated him because she thought he hated her, he's like, on the contrary, it's not. I didn't hate you at all, and all that. And he's like really like calm and talking to her. another thing too, actually, to add, sorry, is that Aberforth. We get young Aberforth. We get Dumbledore's brother. We see a young him in this movie, and it looks like he's still, the tone of his voice, it still sounds like he's reluctant to acknowledge or speak to his brother. Because I don't know if you know the story of the Dumbledore family.
I don't know.
Grindelwald / Dumbledore / Aberforth, well, not really so much Aberforth, but they're responsible for Dumbledore's sister's death. Because there was a disagreement, an argument that broke out after the Blood Pact was made between Dumbledore and Grindelwald, and they actually got in a three-way duel, and the duel actually resulted in their sister Ariana's death. So Aberforth blames Dumbledore for it, because at her funeral, actually, Aberforth got really upset at Dumbledore, and a fight broke out between them, a fist fight, and Aberforth broke Dumbledore's nose.
When did this take place?
This was before, I believe in the 1910
Okay, so before this
range.
series.
Yes, before the series.
Oh, interesting.
So it does happen.
I wonder if we'll get like a flashback.
We probably
to
will,
that
especially
in
because
this
the
movie.
secrets of Dumbledore. So
Yeah.
that could be one of his main secrets. And we're going back to it. In the sixth movie, remember when he is actually Michael Gambon's Dumbledore? He's drinking the things from the water, the liquid to get the Horcrux with Harry, and he's screaming. He's like, "Leave him alone! Kill me! Kill me!" It's actually a flashback. He's having a regret talking to Grindelwald instead of Grindelwald killing Ariana and like resulting in that and hurting his other brother. He's like, "No, like attack me, kill me," and like he has all that regret. And and even when he's talking to his brother, and like his brother is like quippy and like sarcastic at him, like, "Going off to save the world, are we?" He's still calm and collected with him. He doesn't want his brother to hate him, and he has all that like that laid back and monotone. I know what's right and wrong in the world. I'm not perfect. I'm gonna make mistakes. I've made mistakes, and all I can do is stay calm and move forward with them. And it just seems that way, and it's gonna be great too. And even again, when he's fighting Eustace, he has that patience, and he puts his hand up, he stops him with all he can, and it's gonna be great to further see an entire movie practically based around Jude Law.
Yeah.
And I can't wait for this movie to come out.
I'm so excited. It looks fucking good.
This will be another movie I will see multiple times.
Like I've said, I think I enjoy the Fantastic Beasts franchise more than the Harry Potter franchise.
I really can't say that because well, I don't know, it's hard to say. I like them all as a whole. I do like Harry Potter more because Harry Potter brought so much heart to it. Even now we're getting even more information and like behind the scenes and stuff about like how much heart was put into it, because especially one scene in the Order of the Phoenix when Sirius Black dies, the reason they did that all like when Harry's screaming and crying, they silenced it because they actually said in an interview that it made Helen Bonham Carter and Emma Watson cry because of how well Daniel Radcliffe was like, and I believe Daniel Radcliffe experienced a death in the family prior to filming that scene, and then losing Harry's godfather, like his only like father figure, really, that was like the only part of his family left.
Yeah.
It like the cries and shouts and tears were just too much, and it made Emma Watson and Helen Bonham Carter cry, which is incredible. So that, and after you really see it after the fourth film, the heart that is put into the characters and the character development and the deaths and the reactions to it and all the incredible imagery we get from it. And even the third Harry Potter movie, it was phenomenal seeing. My favorite scene to this day in all the Harry Potter movies is Harry realizing after going with Hermione back in time with the Time Turner that he was the one who casted the Patronus of a stag, like his father. And that whole sequence with the music playing in the background and as the Patronus is going off and just completely getting rid of and dispersing all the Dementors, it was incredible. And I get goosebumps rewatching it, and it came out in 2003 or 2004.
That was me.
One of those dates.
The only time I ever know dates is when I write them on my notes. So,
but no, I'm very, very, very excited to see this movie, and it'll probably be a movie I see more than once.
Yeah, me too. I'll definitely rewatch it.
Yeah, we'll go with Justin. We'll go see it with Justin because Justin and I seen the first two together, so we'll all see it together.
Sounds good. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you guys so much for hanging out with us this week on episode 6 of Common Conversations. We had a lot to talk about.
We had a lot to talk about, and thank you guys so much for tuning in this week and any weeks prior. We really, really appreciate all your support.
Yeah.
We actually just recently hit our goal, so thank you guys so much for all of that, because we could not have hit our goal, and we couldn't do this without you guys. So again, thank you so much for that.
One thing I wanted to talk about real quickly. We have a lot of stuff coming soon.
We have a lot.
Like,
yes.
It's coming up. We've got Spider-Man that just released yesterday.
Yeah, well, officially today, but select theaters yesterday.
Yeah, yesterday. Yeah. We've got, on the 1st of January, we have the Harry Potter 20th anniversary reunion coming to... Is that HBO Max?
I believe it is.
Have fucking HBO Max.
We'll get it.
One streaming service
we'll get
that
it.
I don't have. I've got everything but HBO fucking Max. What else is coming out soon? Oh my gosh, my brain. January 13th, Peacemaker is coming to HBO Max.
Is it? We do have that, yeah.
Then we talked about it today. We've got Operation Fortune coming January 15th.
And we also have the Kingsman releasing soon, and we haven't talked about it, and we decided not to talk about it. But there's a movie called American Underdog coming out about Kurt Warner, quarterback in NFL history. I'll see that. You won't, but I'll see that.
I've never been a sports person.
I know you haven't.
I have not. Soccer, I think, is like the most sports I'll get into.
Wow, I don't even want to talk about that with you, but but no, we do have a lot of content coming out we talked about, and we have a lot of content coming out that we will be talking about.
Yep.
And if not next week, the week after, we will probably be starting to dive into some talk about video games as well.
Yeah. So we sit down, and we're filming this on Wednesday.
Yes.
We do it a little early, so I have time to edit. I'm a little slow at that. But yesterday, we had so many trailers get dropped. So next week, we'll have some stuff to talk about. Exactly. There was some stuff, and I was like, ooh, I want to talk about that. And I was like, I gotta fucking wait a week.
You know, especially because if we talked about the trailers you wanted to add, we would have so much more time on this podcast. It's probably gonna be a
like a 3-hour one.
Literally.
But one thing we talked about last week was we were talking about one movie, and we were like, what else is this company putting out that they could play the trailer with? I don't remember what movie it was. It was a Universal movie. I don't remember. I don't remember what it was, but we were talking about it, and we said they could play it with Bad Boys. I was like, I think that's a live action movie.
What the fuck are you talking about, Bad Boys?
It's a movie that's coming out next year, and I was like, maybe we'll get the trailer prior to that. And I was wrong. It is an animated movie. Not a live action, which we now have a trailer for, and we'll talk about next week.
Okay.
But
no idea what you're talking about, but okay.
If you guys want to see our extra episode for the week, we are going to be talking about Nightmare Alley, which comes out on December 17th, which that is
this weekend.
It is coming out, and we're going to be talking about that.
It comes out the day this airs, guys. It comes out the day this airs.
We'll be talking about that on our extra episode, which is exclusive for our subscribers over on Anchor. So if you haven't already and you want to help support the podcast even more, please head on over to anchor.fm/crconvo, and there you can subscribe and find our extra episodes. We did one last week, and we'll be doing this one this week. And every week forward, we'll be doing an extra topic every week.
Yep. And that could be anything, guys, especially when we start to talk about more about video games.
Yep.
The extra episode could be talking about new movies are coming out, video game releases, video game reviews on TV shows that have come out. Like, I believe next week we'll probably maybe do an extended bonus clip, because next week will be the finale of Hawkeye that comes out. So I will very much want to talk about that and the future of the MCU after that. So if we don't have another trailer to talk about, we would definitely be talking about that.
Yeah, we can do that.
And in the future, we would talk about all kinds of different things. So it'd be really appreciated. We really appreciate, guys, if you would want to subscribe and get that, little extra dose of Chris and Brendan into your lives. Which
I know you really don't want it,
yeah,
but if you want
I barely want it.
If you want to struggle, come struggle with us.
Follow us up at Twitter handle at Brendan White 3.
find me over on Twitter at Chris White with 2 T's. And then you can also find the podcast at CR Convo. Like I said, thank you guys for hanging out with us. We'll see you guys next week.
Thank you guys
Have
very
a great
much.
week.